Let us begin with public administration. This is a very important topic in government. It appears in your exams every single year. By the end of this lesson, you will understand the meaning of public administration, public service commissions, the meaning of commercialization, privatization, and deregulation, the reasons for these reforms, the advantages and disadvantages of each, the implementation in Nigeria, and how to answer exam questions. Take your notes. Let us go. First, what is public administration? Public administration is the implementation of government policies. It is the management of public programs and services. It involves civil servants, government agencies, and public corporations. Public administration includes planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, and budgeting. It also includes policy analysis, program evaluation, and service delivery. Public administration is concerned with efficiency, effectiveness, and accountability. Good public administration delivers services to citizens at low cost. Poor public administration wastes resources and fails citizens. Now let me explain public service commissions. A public service commission is a body responsible for the recruitment, promotion, and discipline of civil servants. The commission is supposed to be independent of political interference. It ensures that civil servants are hired based on merit, not on connections. In Nigeria, the Federal Civil Service Commission is responsible for the Federal Civil Service. Each state also has a State Civil Service Commission. The functions of the Public Service Commission include recruitment, which means advertising vacancies, shortlisting candidates, conducting interviews, and making appointments. Promotion means evaluating the performance of civil servants and moving them to higher positions. Discipline means investigating misconduct and imposing sanctions like warnings, suspension, or dismissal. The Public Service Commission also handles transfer of civil servants from one ministry to another. It also handles retirement and pension matters. The Commission also advises the government on personnel matters. The importance of the Public Service Commission includes ensuring that the civil service is professional and efficient. It also protects civil servants from political victimization. They cannot be fired for political reasons. It also ensures that the best candidates are hired. The problems of the Public Service Commission include political interference. Governors and presidents often pressure the Commission to appoint their supporters. The Commission also faces corruption. Officials may demand bribes to give jobs or promotions. The Commission is also underfunded and understaffed. Now let me explain commercialization. Commercialization is the reform of public corporations to make them operate like businesses. Under commercialization, public corporations are expected to cover their costs and make a profit. They are given more autonomy. They can set prices. They can make management decisions without political interference. They are still owned by the government, but they are expected to be self-sufficient. The reasons for commercialization include improving efficiency. Public corporations were often inefficient. They lost money. They depended on government subsidies. Commercialization forces them to be more efficient. It also reduces government spending. The government no longer has to subsidize the corporation. It also improves service delivery. Commercialized corporations have an incentive to serve customers better. They need to make a profit. They also reduce waste. Commercialized corporations cannot afford to waste resources. The methods of commercialization include granting operational autonomy. The corporation makes its own decisions. It also introduces performance contracts. Managers are evaluated on their performance. It also allows the corporation to set prices based on market conditions. It also requires the corporation to generate its own revenue. It cannot rely on government funding. Examples of commercialized corporations in Nigeria include the Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, and the Transmission Company of Nigeria. These corporations are expected to operate as businesses. The advantages of commercialization include improved efficiency, reduced government spending, better service delivery, and reduced waste. The disadvantages include that prices may increase. The corporation may raise prices to make more profit. It may also neglect unprofitable services. Rural areas may lose service. It may also lead to job losses. The corporation may lay off workers to cut costs. Now let me explain privatization. Privatization is the transfer of ownership of public corporations to the private sector. The government sells its shares to private investors. The corporation becomes a private company. Privatization is different from commercialization. Commercialization keeps ownership with the government. Privatization transfers ownership to the private sector. The reasons for privatization include improving efficiency. Private companies have profit incentives. They reduce costs and improve quality. It also reduces government spending. The government no longer has to subsidize the corporation. It also raises revenue for the government. The government gets money from the sale of shares. It also promotes competition. Private companies compete for customers. This leads to better service and lower prices. It also reduces corruption. Private companies are less corrupt than public corporations. The methods of privatization include public offering, which is selling shares to the public through the stock exchange. Private sale is selling shares directly to a specific buyer, like a consortium or a company. Management buyout is selling the corporation to its managers. Employee buyout is selling the corporation to its employees. Liquidation is selling the assets of the corporation and shutting it down. Examples of privatized corporations in Nigeria include the Nigerian Telecommunications Limited, which was sold and became MTN Nigeria, and other private telecom companies. This led to a revolution in mobile phone service. The electricity generation and distribution companies were also privatized. The National Electric Power Authority was broken up and sold. The Nigerian Airways was liquidated. The Nitel was privatized multiple times but struggled. The advantages of privatization include improved efficiency, reduced government spending, revenue for the government, increased competition, and reduced corruption. The disadvantages include that it can lead to job losses. Private companies may lay off workers to reduce costs. It can also lead to higher prices. Private companies may increase prices to make higher profits. It can reduce access for the poor. Private companies may not serve unprofitable areas. It can also lead to monopoly if the privatized corporation remains the only provider. It also raises issues of national security. Some industries should remain under government control. Now let me explain deregulation. Deregulation is the removal of government controls and regulations from an industry. The government stops telling businesses what to do. It allows market forces to determine prices, production, and entry. Deregulation is often combined with privatization. The government removes regulations and then privatizes the industry. The reasons for deregulation include promoting competition. When regulations are removed, new businesses can enter the market. Competition leads to lower prices and better quality. It also reduces government interference. Businesses can make their own decisions. It also encourages innovation. Businesses can try new methods without seeking government permission. It also reduces bureaucracy. There are fewer rules to follow. The methods of deregulation include removing price controls. The government allows businesses to set their own prices. It also removes entry barriers. New businesses can enter the market without licenses. It also removes restrictions on foreign investment. Foreign companies can compete with local companies. It also simplifies licensing and registration. It becomes easier to start a business. Examples of deregulation in Nigeria include the deregulation of the telecommunications industry. The government removed the monopoly of Nitel. It allowed private companies like MTN, Glo, and Airtel to enter. This led to a massive increase in mobile phone access. The deregulation of the banking industry allowed new banks to open. It also allowed foreign banks to enter. The deregulation of the oil and gas industry is ongoing. The government has removed fuel subsidies and allowed market pricing. The advantages of deregulation include increased competition, lower prices, better quality, more choice for consumers, and innovation. The disadvantages include that it can lead to market failures. Without regulation, businesses may collude to keep prices high. It can also lead to exploitation. Businesses may take advantage of consumers. It can also lead to instability. The banking deregulation contributed to the banking crisis of 2009. It can also harm the environment. Businesses may ignore environmental regulations. It can also harm workers. Businesses may ignore labor laws. Now let me explain the relationship between commercialization, privatization, and deregulation. These three reforms are related. Commercialization makes public corporations operate like businesses. Privatization transfers ownership to the private sector. Deregulation removes government controls. Often, commercialization is the first step. The government prepares the corporation for privatization. Then the government privatizes it. Then the government deregulates the industry to allow competition. Sometimes the government deregulates first to attract private investors. Then it privatizes. All three reforms aim to improve efficiency and reduce government spending. They are part of the Structural Adjustment Program, adopted in the 1980s. A common exam question asks you to define public administration and explain the functions of the Public Service Commission. Here is a sample answer. Public administration is the implementation of government policies. The Public Service Commission is responsible for recruitment, promotion, discipline, transfer, and retirement of civil servants. Its functions include hiring qualified staff, promoting based on merit, disciplining misconduct, and protecting civil servants from political victimization. The Commission ensures that the civil service is professional and efficient. Another exam question asks you to explain commercialization and its advantages and disadvantages. Here is your answer. Commercialization is the reform of public corporations to operate like businesses. The advantages include improved efficiency, reduced government spending, better service delivery, and reduced waste. The disadvantages include higher prices, neglect of unprofitable services, and potential job losses. Commercialized corporations must cover their costs and make a profit. They have more autonomy than traditional public corporations. Another exam question asks you to discuss privatization and its advantages and disadvantages. Here is your answer. Privatization is the transfer of ownership of public corporations to the private sector. The advantages include improved efficiency, reduced government spending, revenue for the government, increased competition, and reduced corruption. The disadvantages include job losses, higher prices, reduced access for the poor, potential monopoly, and national security concerns. Privatization in Nigeria includes the telecom sector, electricity sector, and banking sector. Another exam question asks you to explain deregulation and its effects. Here is your answer. Deregulation is the removal of government controls from an industry. It promotes competition, reduces government interference, encourages innovation, and reduces bureaucracy. The effects include increased competition, lower prices, better quality, more choice for consumers, and innovation. However, deregulation can also lead to market failures, exploitation, instability, environmental harm, and worker exploitation. Deregulation of telecoms in Nigeria led to a mobile phone revolution. Deregulation of banking contributed to the 2009 banking crisis. Here is what you need to take away. Public administration implements government policies. Public service commissions handle recruitment, promotion, and discipline of civil servants. Commercialization makes public corporations operate like businesses. Privatization transfers ownership to the private sector. Deregulation removes government controls from industries. These reforms aim to improve efficiency and reduce government spending. They've had both positive and negative effects in Nigeria. Telecommunications, deregulation, and privatization were very successful. Electricity privatization has been mixed. Banking deregulation led to a crisis. Understanding these reforms is essential for understanding Nigeria's economic policy. Practice these concepts. When you have them down, move to topic 10.